welcome back to my channel. This is Dory, I'm a teacher of English, and today we're going to talk about the gerund and how to use it. Okay, first of all, what is a gerund? The gerund is nothing difficult, really. It is made from a verb. Let's just say we have the verb play, and we add the ing form in the end of it. So we have playing, and now it is not a verb anymore. It becomes a noun. So, as a noun, we can use it either as the subject or the object of a sentence. Now, let's see some examples in order for you to understand better what I'm talking about.
So, let's read these examples. Smoking is bad for your health. This is our first example. As you can see, this is not a verb, it is a noun, it is the subject of the sentence. The action of smoking is bad for your health, okay? It's not a verb anymore, the gerund is the noun. So let's move on to our next example where the gerund is the object of a sentence. In very simple terms, very simply put, okay, she enjoys listening to music. What does she enjoy? She enjoys listening. So listening is this gerund here as the object of the sentence. Now another example of the object. His favorite hobby is hiking. What is his favorite hobby? Again, hiking is his favorite hobby. This is the gerund as the object of a sentence.
That's it, nothing to confuse you, right? Many students confuse gerunds with verbs, especially with verbs in present continuous because, the tense present continuous is formed, if we take again the verb play, is formed by the verb to be and the ing form of the verb. For example, I am playing. But in this case, we have a verb in present continuous and we need both the verb to be, I am, you are, he is, she is, etc., and the ing form of another verb, and we have I am playing. But the gerund is just plain, and really it is just a noun in the same way, it is not a verb, in the same way that things, ideas, and people are nouns. So let's just see some examples in order for you to understand the difference a little bit better.
So let's read these examples in order to understand the differences. The child is playing in his room at the moment. This is an example of a present continuous tense. Is the verb to be and playing, the verb in ing form. So the child is playing in his room at the moment. This is the verb. In this example here, playing is very important for children. We have a gerund. Not a verb, a gerund as the subject. The action of playing is very important for children. And another example with a gerund as the object. Children's most important activity is what? Is playing. Again, the action of playing. Playing here is a gerund and not a verb, as in this case in the present continuous form. The child is playing in his room at the moment. So can you see the difference in both syntax, grammar and meaning? With these examples in mind, you'll never confuse them again.
Also, you need to remember that some verbs are followed by specific prepositions. For example, let's see, I want to go to the theater tonight. I go to school every day. She needs to apologize for her rude behavior. As you can see in these examples, we have verbs that are followed by certain preposition. In these cases, to, preposition to, and for. So, in the same way, there are verbs that are followed not by a preposition, but by gerunds. So, unfortunately, there are no rules for that. You just learn these verbs as you use them. Of course, some verbs are very, very common, so you learn them as a rule. So let me give you some examples to show you what I'm talking about.
So here are some verbs that take a gerund after them. Like, dislike, enjoy, hate, love, suggest, recommend, keep, stop. There are a lot of them, but here are some of them. And let's read some examples. Mary. Just a moment. Yes. Mary enjoys dancing. You see that after the verb enjoy, we have the gerund dancing. He suggested going for a walk. Mom keeps complaining about her problems.
Last but not least, another useful tip that I want to give you is that usually prepositions of, for, from, and about are followed by a gerund afterwards. Let me give you some examples to show what I mean.
Okay, now let's read some examples with these prepositions. She's afraid of flying by plane. He's thinking about marrying next year. He forgave me for shouting at him. And last but not least, his help kept her from quitting her job. As you can see, with these prepositions, we use a gerund afterwards. Again, this doesn't mean that you will not use gerund with other prepositions as well. You most certainly will. But with these prepositions, it is very common.
Okay, I hope this lesson helped you to understand gerund, its form and its use a little bit better. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it helps. If this is your first time here, I would like to see you subscribe for more videos related to English. If you have any questions or comments, you can ask me here or on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and of course my website. All links are down below. Thank you very much for watching again. Take care. Bye-bye.